There we are. Hello, everyone. Can my team confirm that we are up and recording and good to go?
Confirmed, we are recording.
Thank you, Stacy. This is Pete Langlois, Program Manager with the Department of Energy's Advanced Manufacturing Office, working on our education and workforce development activities. Welcoming you to the first of our Energy Awareness Month webinars hosted by our wonderful Better Plans team here at DOE. Can we put up the next slide, or is the next slide telling about the recording? Let's please put that up if we can. Thank you. Just a reminder for any of you on this, that of course this call is being recorded and will be hosted. If you don't want to have your voice or image shared, then please don't share it with us. You will have plenty of opportunities to interact with us via the chat function, and we'll be giving you a little more details about that momentarily. For those who are watching live, it is Thursday, October 7th, 2021. You know that, but there are those who will be watching this later on. Thank you as well. And for anybody who may be watching this in the next few days or in the near future, we have several other webinars coming up in October, of which I believe we will tell you about right there. So as I mentioned, it is October 2021, Energy Awareness Month. Thank you for joining us. It is also, of course, typically in October, the time when we celebrate Manufacturing Day. And certainly something that is important to us at the DOE's Advanced Manufacturing Office is the understanding that for a robust, innovative energy sector, it is truly dependent on the skills of its workforce, of which there are 10 million in the United States currently. And we're expecting the need for several more million to enter that workforce in the next decade. So with that in mind, we are lucky to have members of our Better Plans team, energy experts, to talk to us about a number of different topics over the course of the month, as well as some of their partners that we'll hear about as we go through the upcoming webinars. As you see the schedule there, we got them going on pretty much every Tuesday and Thursday this month. Thank you for joining us for the first one. For those of you who are seeing this in real time or sometime in the near future, please go back to our registration page and sign up for any of the future ones. The link to that should be on the next slide, I believe. Or we'll put it in the chat and we'll have it. Oh, there, sorry. Thank you. It's already down there on the bottom of the prior slide. I missed that. So yes, please go to yesevents.com/energy awareness. Along with registering for the rest of these webinars, there are additional resources and handouts applying to all these topics. So if you can't make one of them, don't fear. There's additional information there, as well as we mentioned on the next slide, at the Better Buildings Solutions Center. With that, I just want to remind everybody, for questions, we will take them occasionally during the presentations if there's something where it can be clarifying what the speakers talked about right at the particular moment in time. Otherwise, we'll do some Q&A here at the end of our hour together. So with that, I am going to turn it over to our team of Christina Armstrong and Eli Levine talking today about today's topic. And with that, over to you, Eli.
Thanks so much, Pete, and thank you to all of us who are joining us today. We're very excited for this whole month. The Better Plans program has rolled out a number of different resource documents, and rather than just putting them up on the website and hoping that you can navigate through all of the Solutions Center, we thought we'd use the occasion of Energy Awareness Month to bring them directly to you via these webinars and make it a little bit more interactive. So as Pete referenced, any questions you have, fire away. We'll answer them in real time, and we'll save them to the end based on whatever the powers that be running this webinar decide is the best way to handle them. So if you're here, chances are you might know about the Better Plans program, but I thought I would take a minute just to explain what we are. But the Better Plans program is a voluntary program. There's no cost to participate. We challenge manufacturers and other other partners in the industrial space, water, wastewater treatment agencies, and others to set an ambitious energy reduction goal and then work with us through the resources we offer to achieve that goal. Partners also have the opportunity to set water reduction goals if they're interested, either for their corporate goals or for specific water stressed regions, or to turn their attention to waste reduction in the circular economy and set goals and leverage our technical assistance through that. So why focus on industrial energy efficiency? Honestly, if you're here, you probably understand that, but manufacturers use about a third of all of the energy that's used in the United States to operate their plants. And the benefit of being at DOE is we have a whole lot of smart people at our national labs and around the building who spend a lot of time researching where the opportunities are and why this is important. And there's a lot of evidence that most folks have some pretty big opportunities to reduce their energy with relatively short payback periods. And if you do this, not only is it important for the nation and the world, to strengthen our resiliency, our manufacturing competitiveness, and the stronger workforce that Pete was referencing, but there really are a lot of important reasons for your plants and for your companies as well. For example, as we detail in the report, the very activities that provide energy efficiency really also provide better control over plant assets and inputs. So, one example is, energy efficient practices ensure that thermal resources are applied at the right temperature, at the right duration, and in correct proportion to the raw materials. And this control reduces the facility scrap rate as well as the energy consumed per unit of production. The control provides reliability. Greater reliability means less downtime. Less downtime means orders are filled faster, which allows the facility to complete more orders over the course of the year, thus making more revenue. So energy efficiency is not just about reducing your utility bills, it's about boosting your revenue through greater productivity. We've also seen that by building energy efficiency into your decision making, it cut costs raise your productivity, improve your shareholder value, improve your managerial performance, meet your environmental standards. You can help create energy efficient products and market opportunities, improve your competitive position, attract top talent that is looking to work for a company that's aligned with their values, and then ensure better community relations and a better overall reputation with consumers. So whole lot of reasons to focus on that, but by joining us on this Thursday afternoon, you probably already care about some of these. So one more stat about the one or two more slides about the Better Plants program before we dig into it. At this point, we are up to over 250 partners, representing about 14% of the manufacturing footprint. Our partners have saved, you're getting a sneak peek of next week's annual report, but you have saved, over $9 billion in cumulative cost savings and 1.9 quads in total cumulative energy saved. So if you're not part of Better Plants, you'll allow these slides to be the case for convincing you to join. There's no cost to participate, and we are interested in working with you. How does it work? It's voluntary and free to participate. We ask you to set these long-term goals, and then we work with you. Why companies join Better Plants? Ideally, it's the technical assistance. Every company is paired with a technical account manager. This is an expert based through Oak Ridge National Lab to help you, and they will help you leverage the tools and resources that we'll go over in the course of this hour-long presentation that's designed to help you with this. In addition, we want to help you with your workforce development to meet the challenges of today and tomorrow. If you're partnering with the Department of Energy, we want you to feel like you have access to everything DOE has to offer. That includes our extraordinary national labs and the R&D going on there, as well as our ITV, or Industrial Technology Validation Pilot, that's designed to validate and verify the performance of new and innovative technologies to de-risk them and help promote acceleration of these technologies. So if you're a company saying, our plant keeps being pitched by vendors on these different technologies, I tell you I'm intrigued, but I just don't know if it's right for us, and I'd want to see how they perform in real world circumstances, the ITV program could be right for you. And then lastly is the industry recognition piece. And this really is twofold, that it's not only recognizing leaders in the field and helping to better amplify your story and hold you up for the work that you are doing, but also the peer-to-peer learning and holding up replicable pathways and solutions so that you may not have the right approach, but you can see what other industrial partners who are in similar situations are doing and replicate their strategies. That's one of the things that I like most about the program, how much one partner is willing to learn from and help another partner towards all of these challenges. So with that, one of the nice things about this presentation is you don't have to hear from me the whole time, but you get to hear from one of our true experts, Christina Armstrong. Christina works at Oak Ridge National Lab and serves as technical account manager to a whole portfolio of companies. And the quick start guide for saving energy for small and medium manufacturers was very much a collaboration between Christina and I and the team down at Oak Ridge to produce. So I'm excited to stop talking and turn this over to Christina, at least for a few slides here before she turns it back.
Great, thanks, Eli. Why did we want to spend special focus on small to medium manufacturing? As Eli said, manufacturing is a third of the US in energy use, and small manufacturing sites, less than 500 employees, are 244,125 out of 248,039 firms total. So by far most sites are small, and many are very small. 75% of that is less than 20 employees. So these firms pay a lot more energy for their energy and have a tighter cash flow, so they don't have access to the same buying power that the larger firms that are our partners have. And so when you save energy, it's also not just energy. You go all the way, you get improved control, increased reliability through better equipment, which reduces downtime, increases production, and thus increases revenue. So saving energy is all around very important, and we want to make sure that you all have access to similar opportunities. So, next slide.
Just waiting for your signal. Thank you.
Before you can really get started on this, you kind of need to ask yourself a handful of questions and try to start understanding them. First is being, who's going to lead this? In your company, somebody needs to be accountable for energy, preferably as an official part of their job. Maybe not the only thing they do, but if it is an official part of their job description, that can really help both them in dedicating time to it and the longevity of your energy program. Then you also need to understand why you're saving energy. Why is your company wanting to do this, and get management on board? From there, you need to think about your goals. As a Better Plans partner, you're probably pledged to save 25% of your energy intensity over 10 years. And then you also need to establish a baseline, figure out how long this is going to take place, if you're going to have shorter term goals within that. And then start looking at what needs your attention. Right now, you can probably identify the biggest energy users in your facility without even really trying. You know it's that big motor over there or that boiler. But then starting to quantify that and understand that will really help you on your journey. And then finally, how will you reach your goals? And that's really what most of this webinar is about today. So I'm not going to really talk about that now. So next.
Great. So thanks, Christina. As she was saying, helping to identify who's responsible for saving energy is really your first most important step towards tackling some of your energy saving challenges. And honestly, the answer is everyone is responsible for saving energy. I want to second Christina's part that identifying an energy champion is a critical, important step that we'll detail a little bit more on the next slide. But then building an energy team, engaging management and engaging all employees and getting everyone to find energy waste and do their part to save is really important. And with that last point about engaging all employees, there really are a lot of different activities that you can do to bring energy efficiency to everyone's attention. And that can be encouraging and enabling employees to shut down their equipment when not in use, whether it's personal equipment, personal computers, or production equipment. There's an open forum for employees to suggest energy efficiency projects or solutions. That can be an email box, an open discussion, team huddles where employees meet at the beginning of every shift to review assignments and discuss safety and energy efficiency topics. Contests amongst employees, and this is something where I've really been blown away by the creativity and ingenuity of a lot of our Better Plans partners to come up with different competitions and contests to get, to engage their employees. And this can be between different shifts, departments, sites, or buildings, to save energy and identify projects. Two of these examples is, our LaGrange Energy Marathon, where for 26 days or 26.2 days, they had a big competition to save energy and identify projects, and ArcelorMittal's Power of One competition. In general, and you'll see this on other slides, all of these different examples that we have from partners are ones that we have turned into case studies that you could read more about on the Better Building Solutions Center. In addition, there's surveys and questionnaires and posters and newsletters and intranet sites, as well as different ways to do this. One example of the posters, newsletters, and intranet sites is Celanese Corporation's approach when they developed a set of what they call the Energy Sparks training tools to promote employee engagement in their plants. So how to build an energy team. An energy champion leads the energy program, but is really only one person. An energy team shares the burden and helps you survive if that one individual is going to be leaving. And we see that successful teams are varied. They meet regularly. They have defined responsibilities and bring new eyes to problems. You don't want to have the circumstance, and hopefully not too many of you are sitting there saying, "Oh, that's my situation," where you're the single person tasked with continually pushing the rock up the hill, and you're the green guy at the plant who's the only one who cares about this. To really be successful at this, it's going to require everyone being engaged and working together. So how did they do it? There's a lot of different ways to do this. We try to come up with a couple of concrete examples that we can point to so you can learn. Two of these that you can see in our Solution Center are Saint-Gobain and Cummins. For Saint-Gobain, as you can see, in addition to the plant, they made a plant level energy champion who was responsible for everything going on with the key deliverables, responsibilities, and performance indicators, as well as a corporate energy portal where folks could share different practices and responsibilities. And in addition to the plant level energy champion, Saint-Gobain agreed to maintain an energy champion for each business unit. The responsibilities of the business unit energy champions were to facilitate the energy initiatives within their business units and coordinate energy related communications and reporting. The energy champion also served as the key business unit contact to the corporate energy manager, who has responsibility for the company's energy management program. Where warranted, the business unit energy manager is a full-time position. Sometimes, most cases, it can be a part-time role. And then, certainly Cummins has the facility level energy champion at each site, often with support staff, and they have, regional training sessions as well. And there's a lot more information on this that I have in my notes here, but I'm out of respect for time and wanting to make sure we have time for questions, I'm just going to move to the next slide. And with this, effective corporate strategies are most effective, as the slide says. You're going to need management engagement. You're going to need to be able to communicate both internally and externally about what your strategy is and what your goals are. Tracking your performance and bringing that level of accountability, but also having that goal in sight. Having something that you're working towards, having a strategy to help you get there. So with that, I will turn. For management engagement, this is something that's really important, and this is something that is critical to help make the energy efficiency improvements have a strong business case, but you have to make that business case. You have to help make the case to management about the not only the financial reasons to do this, but all what we call the multiple benefits and how this can improve the health and safety and comfort of the employees. Why this is important, to show that the employees share the values of the company, and how to explaining how you did it so that it's replicable in the future. So we have a number of different resources and case studies and examples that you can click on the link to to see different presentations and case studies to understand about communicating with management and plant personnel. In addition, we have an energy project implementation toolkit up on our website, and within there, one of the forms is one of the resources in there is how to best present to management and get management on board. So with that, I will turn it back to Christina for setting a corporate goal.
Thanks. So one of the the first things you need to do before you even really start tracking energy, you need to know where you're going. So you need to set a goal. It helps put in internal accountability which then also helps with management buy-in. It's seen by employees. It gives them empowers them to do what they need to do. It can attract new talent. It can help investors go, oh, that company is well managed. They care about energy. I like that. And if you're a better plans partner, you've already got one probably. If not, you need to make sure that your goal is not vapid, so vague, amorphous, pie in the sky, irrelevant, or delayed. So just out there, no time devoted to it, just not useful. You instead need a SMART goal, so specific, measurable, attainable, relevant, and time-bounded. And we're going to talk about this more next week, but just very clear what you're going to do, be able to track it, not too big, and just aligns with what you're doing. Next slide. So once you have your goal, you need to know how much you use now. I mean, you can't say I'm going to save 25% if you don't know where you are right now. So you need to start understanding your current energy use. You need to look for your energy sources, electricity, natural gas, propane, renewables. You need to figure out how you use that energy, what equipment is using it, how often it's being used, what affects that. For more help on this, there's the Energy Baselining Summary Guidance document and a quick start guide, or a specific quick start guide that you can see in the little box with the microscope. And also your TAM is a great resource to help you with this. And hopefully they already do. So next slide.
And if you're interested in the energy intensity baseline and tracking guidance, tune back in on Tuesday and we'll be going over that.
So a little bit more on that still though. What do you need to track? Energy use. So gather monthly energy bills. If you can, see if your utility will provide you with a load profile at 15 or 30-minute interval data. You also need to start, as I said, thinking about those predictive variables that will affect how much energy you use. It's usually things like production, hopefully. You make more, you use more energy. And weather, so if it's hot, you need to cool down your facility some. You create a spreadsheet, or maybe you already have internal dashboards. If you don't, we have several software tools. The energy footprint tool in the plant energy profiler are available online. They're Excel-based documents, a little macro heavy, but they're very useful. And we are also working on a dedicated energy dashboard, utility dashboard software called Verify. And again, as Eli said, more on utility bills and energy tracking will be in the upcoming webinars. So stay tuned. All right, beyond just your bills, so that's kind of this top-down approach. You know how much energy you use. It really helps to go from the bottom up and figure out how much each of your really big equipment use, because that way you know what you need to focus on for your potential projects. You don't want to focus on your tiny pumps, your tiny fans. You need to look at those big equipment. So there's another tool, the plant energy profile tool has a portion in it that can help you do this, but you generally need to get some kind of recording of what your equipment is, how much it runs, what its rated power is, and how much it's loaded in that time period. And then as you start to gather this information, over time, you will gather enough that you can try to actually balance your energy bill with what you know is being used. And just the more and more you can add to that, the closer you can get to balance. That'll help you find other parasitic losses or whatnot. And it'll help you understand the fraction of energy that is used for each of these pieces. That'll also let you monitor the SEU energy performance, which will help as you do projects, you want to track that energy use. And it'll also identify the people who work on those equipment, and those might be good people for your energy team. So next slide. So as you start discovering all those SEUs and benchmarking them and you know how much energy they use, well, that's only part of the puzzle. How much energy should they be using? So you can compare internally, like similar motors, you got two 500 horsepower motors, you can compare those two. Or if you're a multi-facility company, you can ask somebody else within your company, hey, do you guys have any similar size? About how much energy is it using? And if nothing else, you can compare to industrial level information. So information from surveys, trade groups, best practices. And again, we have a bunch of tools to help you with benchmarking, such as, again, the plant energy profiler, the manufacturing energy consumption survey has some manufacturing energy and carbon footprint reports. And again, the Better Building Solution Center, the technology focus areas webpage is a great resource for helping with this. And all those links are available. Next. So you've now got your SEUs, you know how much they use, you've compared them to benchmarks. Now what? Well, now is the time to start looking for both the low to no cost opportunities through treasure hunts, IAC University, looking at the Solution Center, and identify those more bang for your buck projects. It costs more, but it'll do more. You do that through energy assessments, whether they be in-plants or through the IACs, and using the tools that will help provide. And we're going to talk about all of these in the next slides. So next.
Another great way to engage your employees and identify some low to no cost opportunities are what we call energy treasure hunts. And these are typically 2 to 3 day mini assessments where you build an energy team and you have them work together, to evaluate the plant or the facility, to understand where the quick wins are, where are things that people may not have noticed. And this is something that we're happy to train you guys on. We're happy, we host in-plant trainings through the Better Plans program to host to teach people how to do these. We also have a treasure hunt toolkit that you can pretty much use, and it's designed to be your one-stop shop towards hosting an energy treasure hunt. Our friends and colleagues at the Environmental Protection Agency in their Energy Star program for industry also have a real treasure trove of resources for your energy treasure hunts, and I encourage you to check out their resources as well. I believe that they are still running a campaign where they're tracking all the different energy treasure hunts out there too. And part of this that's nice is that we on this slide we have the top. I'm a sucker for all the top 10 lists that sort of simplify it for me, but this is your top 10 most common low cost savings opportunities to look for during a treasure hunt, and you can see them there. But it's a really nice way to sort of strengthen your energy teams and communicate the value that this is something that everyone has a stake in, and we need everyone to look for these things, because it is the type of thing I notice even in my everyday life at home, that once you start thinking about saving energy and where the opportunities are, it really becomes ingrained in your psyche, and then you start noticing things that you may have walked by a million times before. So in addition to that, Better Plans offers in-plant. Oh, Christina, this was yours. Sorry, you go ahead.
Thanks. Another great thing about the treasure hunts and then these in-plant trainings is they can help people beyond just the energy managers learn more about how to save energy, either the low cost things or with the in-plant trainings, the larger equipment. It can help them be able to look at these equipment and go, well, wait, we can do this a little better. And the more people who can think about that sort of thing, the more likely you will to find good projects that preferably don't cost much. With the in-plant trainings, these are 2 to 4 day on-site training and assessment. We'll send an expert to your facility, teach you how to conduct these assessments, including using the diagnostic tools, the software tools, and that'll let you calculate the savings and even help you learn how to begin implementing these projects. And we cover all the major equipment, water, energy management. So, I mean, it's compressed air, fans, pumps, motors, process heating, steam. I've already lost count. There's, I think, at least 10. We have done 130 in-person over the past many years, and it have over 2,400 attendees and have saved over or identified savings of over $52 million. In the past year and a half, however long the pandemic has been, we've had 10 virtual implants have had over 500 attendees and identified over 5 million. That's a bunch of different units there. I think it's 5.4 trillion BTUs, not $1 million. And on the links on the page, you can find an overview to how the implant trainings work. We're not having new ones right now, but eventually we will again. And also you can access at bptraining.ornl.gov, and that link on that page, you can access all of the videos we have done for the virtual implants. So 2-hour sessions once a week for about 8 weeks for each of them. So there's a lot of information on that webpage that you can, I recommend just putting them on in the background and just listening kind of casually until you are like, oh, this part's really important to me. Because it's a lot of really great information. So, Eli?
I believe the statistic, last I checked, and don't hold me to it, was $2 million worth of identified savings for the virtual implant trainings. In addition to everything Better Plants offers through its implant trainings and treasure hunts, we did want to point you to, especially if you're a small to medium-sized manufacturer joining us here, our industrial assessment centers. And the IACs have been around, honestly, as long as the Department of Energy has been around. And it's really an extraordinary program that trains undergrad and graduate students to go out and give no-cost energy assessments to small to medium-sized manufacturers in your area. If you're slightly larger than small to medium, still I'd encourage you to reach out, as oftentimes there's arrangements that can be made. And these students walk all around your plant and take measurements and understand, and then write up a report that showcases all of the different savings, and oftentimes it's somewhere between 30 and 50 different recommendations that they have, and they sort them in terms of which are the ones that can be done right away at no cost, and which are the ones with a quick payback, and which are the more impactful but potentially with more costs up front. And they will follow up with you over the course of the year to see if they can help at all with any of your implementation. So if you are sitting this and saying, oh, that's a really cool program, and I wonder whatever happens to those students, great things happen to those students. They come out with really just fantastic skills, and we encourage you to hire them and have them join your plant, because by the time they will have spent their time with the ISC, they will have seen so many different plants and understand where the savings are, and come out really ready to contribute right away. So please do think about that, and take advantage of not only the assessments but the students who are graduating from the centers. And you have the map there. This is the upcoming map for the next 5 years. And it's their website is iac.university. And I bring that up because after having done 40 years worth of assessments, it really is a huge database. I guess I've used the expression treasure trove already, but it is a repository of solutions, and you can look at similar size facilities, similar facilities in your sector, and understand what the common recommendations that the ISC students keep making, because whether or not you're able to host your own assessment, you can still learn based on what are the common things that keep coming up for all sorts of other types of plants. And they have videos as well to help you understand how to tackle some of these challenges, as well as case studies. And by all means, spend more time on the Better Building Solutions Center, where we have, I think it's up to 200 industrial solutions focused on replicable things that have been done by fellow industry partners who are facing the same challenges and largely have overcome them through these different strategies. Over to you, Christina.
So, as I mentioned, we also have actual tools to help you. Very literally, we have the Diagnostic Tools Loan Program, which will actually mail you the tools you need for measuring the operating data for an assessment. It's, again, a completely free program. You can borrow these tools for up to 4 weeks. I highly encourage you to do this if you have some use for it, and talk to your TAMs for more information with that. And the webpage on the header there, that will actually lead you to the webpage for it and an application form. Then there is also MEASUR, the Manufacturing Energy Assessment Software for Utility Reduction. It is a software for energy savings analysis. It's open source, multi-platform, and it can help you do assessments for pumps, fans, process heating, steam, and motor, and very, very soon compressed air. It has 65 standalone calculators for smaller little quick calculations if you want to know more about power factor or even just altitude corrections for pressure. It is a great resource, and you can find it via that link, or honestly, just if you do a search for DOE MEASUR, and it'll come up right away. Next.
Did I skip a slide? No, sorry. Thank you. Sorry for this. In addition, the next best strategy is to craft an energy plan. To craft an action plan. This is determining the order of implementing your projects and really getting the details down. Assigning who is going to own the various aspects of the project and track your milestones, your budgets, your team, and your due date. And after you've already successfully implemented your action plan, communicating about it is very important. So communicating up to the management and executive team, with them, we really encourage you to keep it simple, as well as to others, all around, to help gain traction and build momentum for future projects. DOE's guiding principles for successfully implementing energy assessment recommendations guidebook has numerous tips and checklists and templates and basic tools for crafting your action plan. The guide provides tips for obtaining stakeholder buy-in, pitching the project concepts to management, and developing an implementation tracking system, and then communicating this when it's all complete. So we would heartily recommend that you access that document and understand, follow the instructions there to help you successfully craft an action plan. In addition to important to implementing your action plan is these steps of finding financing and finding incentives. And this can be challenging, and the Department of Energy is here to help. So one of the resources we have is what we call the Better Buildings Financing Navigator, and it can help you understand the different financing options that exist and what's in your area and what fits your need, as well as connecting with Better Buildings financial allies as well. So within the Financing Navigator, we have a special dedicated primer for the industrial sector, but I encourage you to spend time on there. One of the places that the Financing Navigator will inevitably point you to as well is this database for state incentives for renewables and efficiency, or the Desire website, that can really help you understand what is out there and what can be leveraged by your organization to help with financing and incentives. Through this, we like to provide, it's one thing for us to talk abstractly about this, but it's more important for us to provide real industry examples. These are three. We have others, at least for Bentley Mills, so as to not take time with all three. The partner sought an alternative to traditional financing routes for the proposed retrofit projects, and ultimately enlisted a Better Buildings financial ally, Redaptive, to fund two projects using efficiency as a service as the model, which is they use this for a plant-wide LED retrofit and high efficiency fixtures for all domestic water uses. So I encourage you to check out their solution at the bottom to understand how this works. Energy as a service is certainly a hot new topic that a lot of companies are starting to explore. But then you have with the other solutions about whether they've received a loan or different creative ways for financing their solutions.
So as you start implementing progress, you need to make sure that you are actually saving energy. You need to measure and verify. One of the things you need to do is figure out how you're going to measure your success, either your key performance indicator, your energy performance indicator. It can be absolute energy use, an energy intensity at a corporate or facility level, or full-on regression analysis, taking into account more than just production, but weather or anything else that you think could help understand your energy use. And again, a lot more information on this next week. But tracking and monitoring will allow you to answer the question, just, are your objectives and targets being met? Are your performance indicators moving in the right direction? And are you getting the most out of your largest energy consumers or your SEUs? And again, I highly encourage you to tune in next week and look at the energy intensity baselining and tracking guidance document. So last, you need to tell people what you're doing. Telling employees makes sure that you can get their help. Again, if employees are aware, they will directly help you save energy by coming up with projects and practices, becoming part of your energy team. It lets you communicate management's goals and helps you build a culture on energy. And then you can have energy events that bring enthusiasm and posters, stickers, newsletters, boards, all kinds of different opportunities to tell your employees. And then beyond them, you need to tell the world, because that really shapes your organization's image and shows a responsibility to the community. And if you're telling the world about it, the energy program becomes a real part of the company. You're kind of held accountable, and it's just going to be there. And you can use trade press articles, social media, open days, involvement in community events, and much more to just shout out to the world. And here you can see better plans. You can get a poster that you can show on your at your facility that just says that we are a proud member. ArcelorMittal has told people about the power of one and their energy champion, and there's just a lot of different things again on our solution center that'll show you how other companies have done it.
As much as we want you to drive your energy efficiency savings, and thinks that is the best and first place you should be working as you think about your broader decarbonization and sustainability challenges, we recognize that there's more than just energy efficiency, and DOE and the Better Plans program want to help you with all of your sustainability challenges, and this can include renewable energy, water, waste, and carbon. And so this slide showcases some of the challenges and opportunities and solutions that we have in this area. So I encourage you to spend a little bit of time on this, but also know if this piques your interest and you're interested in learning more about how to engage on these topics, please reach out to us. All of our contact information will be available at the end, because as much as we are an energy program, we see real opportunities. It may well be that there's opportunity by saving water, you are saving energy and carbon as well. So that energy water nexus or waste to energy nexus is so important as well. So just something to pique your interest, to know that we have a lot of resources here. We are interested in engaging you on all of these topics. And please continue to reach out to us. We have water savings network, a waste reduction pilot, a low carbon pilot right now, and I think some pretty exciting things on the very near term horizon in terms of additional challenges and opportunities to partner with the DOE through on the topic of industrial decarbonization. So next slide, Christina.
All right, so just wrapping it up, how do you start on your path to saving 25% and meeting your energy reduction goal? Create an energy team and create a culture around energy. Set your goal. Get a handle on your current energy use. Create an action plan and begin implementation. Find opportunities, and that part's a circle. You're just always going to go back to creating more action plans and more opportunities and examining your major energy users. You need to track performance and celebrate your successes, and then start to look beyond energy efficiency. So thank you all.
So you guys have been so patient and respectful to not interrupt with your questions, but we have time for questions now. So fire away. All as Christina and I mentioned, as we wait for questions to come in through the chat box, and please use the Zoom chat box to respond. All of this is detailed in a document that we published over the course of this year that we call the Quick Start Guide for small to medium sized manufacturers to save energy, or the Quick Start Guide to Saving Energy for small to medium manufacturers. That will have links to all the case studies we reference, as well as much more eloquent writing than my presenting on all of these important topics. So I certainly encourage, and you saw when you were signing up that there was a link to download that document, and that's something for all of the webinars that we have scheduled. They all link to a resource document that we have published that is free to download and is accessible for you to take advantage of. So Pete, I will stop talking there and see what we have by way of questions.
Thanks, Eli. Thank you, Christina. And that was wonderful, and a wonderful overview of everything we want to talk about today. Alluded to what we have coming up for the rest of the month. I do want to do a couple clarifying things before I throw into the first question. And that is, Eli mentioned the Quick Start Guide. That is available on the registration page. That if you are watching this webinar live, you've already been on. If you're watching it recorded, that website, if you're seeing it, I guess, let's say in October 2021, you can go to yesevents.com/energy awareness. That's yesevents.com/energy awareness. And I guess what I'm going to ask our team to do is also put a copy of these slides up there if at all possible, because Eli and Christina, you mentioned a lot of links in here that we want people to be able to go and continue on and check out. And so that'll be the way, at least in the near term, to see them. Ultimately, if you're watching this video later, check the page where it is posted, where you're finding the link to the video itself, and then you'll have access to the presentation and the slides as well. I'm going to scroll down and see that new message here in just a second, but before I do that, I want to ask Eli and Christina, the lovely, ironically named virtual implant trainings. How would somebody go about, I guess, finding out what's coming up on that, or just contacting us directly to figure out how to do that with them for themselves?
Yeah, it's a great question, and there's implants and what we call VINplants or virtual implants. By all means, I would say that you could never go wrong by contacting us. On these slides as well, there is a dedicated website where you can see the schedule for the virtual implant trainings if you're interested in the upcoming ones that you want to watch live. But as we've all adjusted to over the last 18 months, everything has a virtual component, and all of these presentations are recorded. So if, let's say, you are particularly interested in the compressed air virtual implant training, and that one has passed already, there's very much the opportunity, or let's say you're interested in this, but your job or your boss won't let you take time out of the day to sit and in the virtual classroom and learn. The recordings are a great way to take care of this on your own time and access all the knowledge and training that we're offering free of charge. And heck, if you're like me, and sometimes it takes 2 to 3 times of listening to something before it sinks in, that's an advantage to watching a recording too in the privacy of your own home, where no one can observe how many times you needed to hear the sentence repeated before it actually makes sense to you. So that's certainly an advantage to the recording as well. Pete, the first question was less of a question and just a comment from the National Insulation Association, which we greatly appreciate that they are they wanted to point out all of the resources that they're available to advise on available resources, get more involved. And, hopefully this, I appreciate you commenting on that, because I think there are really great opportunities for collaboration and knowledge sharing and learning with yourself and the Department of Energy, not just the Better Plants program, but, all of our various programs. So Kristen, stay tuned. We'll reach out to you after this meeting. Oh, and there you go. And Christina has dropped into the chat the information. Pete, over to you. Sorry.
That's fine, Eli. Thanks for pointing that out. And again, for those of you who are not watching this live and access to this chat, we're referring to more information you can see at insulation.org. That's the National Insulation Association's website, www.insulation.org. I do want to ask another clarifying question, just to be sure, because we did talk during the presentation, and Christina, you mentioned a few things. I'm thinking specifically of the Diagnostic Tool Lending Program. Some of the activities we talked about are things that would be involved in being a Better Plants partner, but the vast majority of everything you talked about, the links that will be in the presentation, the access to solutions on the Better Building Solution Center, all freely available to anybody, because while there's 250 partners from the original, there's 200,000+ other manufacturers, who could use access to this too.
Absolutely. Yes. I'd say the only things that are really only for Better Plans partners would be access to your technical account manager and the diagnostic tools loan program. Of the things we've really talked about today, all of the software, all of the guidance documents, those are freely available online. The Solution Center is freely available. Access to the IAC can be done by anyone.
Implants and virtual implants are free to be audited by non-partners as well.
Mhm.
You cannot host one, though, if you're not a partner.
Sure. All right, understood. Thank you for that. I do want to ask a follow-up because we touched on it really briefly in terms of the top 10 solutions. And again, if we're talking to an audience here that may be a little less familiar, or to your point, smaller, may not have a dedicated energy staff, what in the broadest terms are the low-hanging fruit that maybe the smaller manufacturers should be looking for? I mean, I can think of a handful of things. It seemed like that top 10 list was a little more specific, but maybe just in general topic areas that they might want to think about.
So top 10s for any given process equipment are actually available on the Better Building Solution Center Technology Focus Area pages. As far as the treasure hunts go, some of the key ones: repair your air leaks. It's number 10 on the list, but really kind of feels like it should be number 1. Turn off equipment if it's not in use, or if you can. And then some of the other ones: shut down chilled water systems when they're not in use over the weekends. Decrease time running spent program agitators. Reduce fan speeds. Do you need to be running your fans or even your pumps at full speed if you can? Set equipment to turn off or go into sleep mode, lights, computers. Adjusting storage tower water temperature. Reducing temperature of off-shift thermal oxidizers, and shut down air supply houses during off shifts. And then also, so that was the top 10 for treasure hunts. Also on the slides, there was a top 10, just the top 10 recommendations from IACs over their 40 years. What are they most likely to recommend to people? So this is beyond just low to no cost, but utilizing high efficiency lamps and ballasts. And that has a pretty high payback on the IAC database, but it's actually getting smaller and smaller. Again, eliminate compressed air leaks. Reduce compressed air use. I'm sensing a theme, really. Use occupancy sensors. If it makes sense for your process, use an adjustable frequency drive, a VFD or VSD. Shouldn't necessarily put it on everything. If your pump or fan or motor is running full blast all the time, it doesn't need one. But if it's not always running full load, you might want to consider it. Relocate compressed air intakes. Use high efficiency belts on your motors. In reference to our comment, insulate bare equipment. Try any heat recovery you can, waste heat recovery. And then again, turn off equipment when not in use.
Thank you for that, Christina. I appreciate that. And we haven't touched on it much during this presentation, but the pandemic over the past 18 months or so is obviously, in many ways, maybe things are more back to normal than they were, say, early on, of course, but it probably introduced some not only stresses and strains just in the labor force activities, but just new learnings potentially about how a manufacturing enterprise, might be operating under differing conditions. Is there anything that's come up that surprised you, or maybe a lesson learned from one of the smaller or bigger manufacturers that we might not have known had it not been for the differing conditions that they experienced during the early parts of the pandemic?
So we actually have 2 documents relating to that. I can find and post links to them in the chat here in a bit. But generally, if you search, I think if you search DOE Better Plants COVID, you might be able to find them online. But
I'll share in the chat, Christina. Go ahead.
Awesome, thank you. From what I remember from those, I remember a lot of people being really surprised at how big their base load was. People weren't making things, so production was literally at zero, but their facility was still using a lot of energy because things didn't get shut off and whatnot. And that's also something that can be identified in a treasure hunt if you actually do it over a weekend. But that's the one thing I remember. Eli, do you remember anything else?
Yeah, no, I think that that's right. I mean, one other thing that I'll say is just, I think the pandemic has tested all of us in so many different ways, but the resiliency and ingenuity of our partners to continue to push forward and recognize that just because we may not all be showing up to the office on a day-to-day basis, the challenges that greet us every day at the office, our global climate challenges are still there and certainly aren't taking time off themselves. So continuing to think creatively and find new ways to drive progress and new ways to share knowledge, and much like we are gathered here today, but to meet virtually and explore new ways to communicate and stay close with each other in ways that we both never thought possible and possibly even never thought necessary pre-pandemic. So those would just be some of the things that I would say is do reflect on how far we've come and how creative our partners have been and resilient our partners have been in continuing to find ways to drive meaningful energy savings during all of this. But I like Christina's point about using potential downtime or change disruptions in production to assess where the opportunities may be.
And I will also agree with one of Eli's points. I had a partner very recently tell me that they are in better communication with some of their, especially farther away sites. As the corporate energy manager, they're in better communication now than they were when they were having to go and travel to those sites. They actually see them more face to face. It's just via a little box on your computer.
Yeah, I think we're all probably too familiar with that by now. Eli, would you mind putting up the final slide just so we can give a reminder to everybody of how to contact?
Sure, and I guess the last thing I'll mention, Pete, just to give a shout out to the program that you put so many years of hard work to stand up and turn successful, but thinking about developing an energy management system according to the ISO 50001 standard and leveraging DOE's resources of 50001 ready. Building those types of fundamentals can really help you with the strength, sort of proverbially strengthen your core for when you're tested with a pandemic and understanding having the infrastructure in place to still make progress moving forward.
We thank you for that. We're definitely at the DOE very much invested in the idea of continuous improvement and having a plan, measuring your goals, and having some goals and measuring your progress to them and keep improving. So to the extent that that's applicable to the folks who are on this webinar, then we certainly have a lot of resources to help you with that. In terms of getting in touch with any of us, you see the email addresses are on the screen. In my case, for things related to the Advanced Manufacturing Office, in particular now, our Education and Workforce Development. Eli and Christina, of course, a couple of our lead off and star energy experts with the Better Plans program. We will have others join.
It will only get better
for the rest of the month. For those who are seeing this in real time or near real time, the next webinar is on Tuesday. So this might be a little confusing. The Tuesday webinars are at 11 Eastern, 8 a.m. Pacific, whereas the Thursday webinars during our Energy Awareness Month celebration are typically at 1 p.m. Eastern and 10 a.m. Pacific. So either before or after lunch if you're on the East Coast, or before lunch if you're out west, then please join us for whichever ones or more than one might be most relevant to you. You can find the information about that and the resource guides that we've talked about for each one again at yesevents.com/energy awareness. And with that, I will thank you all on behalf of the Advanced Manufacturing Office and the Better Plans program for joining us for the first one. Hope to see you at many others. Thanks. Have a great Energy Awareness Month and a great rest of your day.